Hello, everyone. My name is Anatoly. I run this channel several weeks. I live in Somaliland, in Berbera, uh, several months now. I intend to live longer if the world is not going to change drastically, much longer. So, several weeks, I started to discuss life in Somaliland and Berbera. I made few videos and some shorts as well. So I already discussed cost of life in Berbera and Somaliland compared to the cost of life in the UK. Uh, Summary of that videos is, of course, life in Somaliland is much cheaper than in Europe and UK, but it's still quite expensive and seriously expensive for local people. So the main reasons for that is small salaries here and large families. Okay, in the description to this video, you'll find links to to the videos where I describe this in detail. So over the past already more than 3 months, I remind that I was here. This time I'm 3 months, but I was here several times before. I visited many different shops. But I like mostly that one, which I took interview in. I interviewed the owner, the reasonably young lady called Fossia. So why did I like that shop? The main reason is that they have basically everything I want, more or less all the time, and it's a nice atmosphere there. I'm not saying that in other shops the atmosphere is not nice. In some of them it's nice, in some of them it's just a show. But I guess the main reason is that everything I wanted is here, and it was nice coming back, and I knew where everything is and stuff like that. So this interview I took with great pleasure. So the owner, I already said, Fossia, she is devoted person, and I think she's very tough because she's a mother. She started business, as she explained before, becoming mother, but now she has 7 children from 5 to 15. So she obviously has business which she inherited from her mother. Nobody wanted to carry on that business. That's why she did it. She explained that in the interview. Of course, she's tough, but she's also very successful. And I found that this is not typical. In fact, she's probably the main one, the main example of a successful woman who is at the same time normal mother, because having 7 children is very normal in this country. And she's very successful. Okay, you will have an option to listen to the interview, which will come after my several summaries from the interview. I record that after I've done the interview. So some of my impressions from this interview went from my prior knowledge and some other discussions in this society. Okay, several things. Poverty is present. It's a serious problem, but society is dealing with it. People help each other. I'm not saying there's no hunger. There is obviously some children, but they claim it's not locals mostly who beggars and who have this hunger. It's people from other countries, from asylum seekers or just people who came from wars, because I already talked about that. There is a war everywhere around. Yemen, but Yemenis assimilated quite nicely. There are lots of Yemenis restaurants, and there are Sudanese. There is lots of Ethiopians, because Ethiopia is successful and economy grows fast, but Ethiopia is very big. I don't know, 120 million or something. And the part Agadenia, which is next to Somalia and Somaliland, is rather poor. And Ethiopia is starting new war, is about to start new. Okay, it never stopped with Eritrea, but now it's some other problem people are afraid of. And I talked to one. He's just recently escaped from Ethiopia because he was afraid to be enlisted, and he has a family, etc., etc. Problems with foreigners, as usual. So very surprising. For me, it was very surprising to hear, and it's not only from her, but from some other people. And the UK people, governments, I don't know, people who look after the system should listen to that. There is, despite hunger, poverty, and malnutrition, there is no stealing in shops. And it's not, the shops are not policed properly. You can go to this shop, for example, you can go inside and look at the stuff in the shelves, and it's like supermarket. Not supermarket, but some halfway supermarket. There is, they won't stop you if you go inside the shop and start checking all the stuff in the shelves. But there is no stealing. They said no stealing in shops. How is it possible? Let somebody explain to me that there is so much problem of stealing in UK, and I don't know Europe, but in UK for sure. It looks like it's educational. It looks like people have no pride in UK, and many people, not everybody, of course, but so they spoiled by endless government promises in UK and Europe and in all these leftists economic policies. They lead to laziness of people because they expect everything will be given to them for nothing. So, but it's not the case here. So it looks like that people here, okay, not everybody, but in general, as a bulk of people, they have more pride and dignity than in states which are based on welfare, spread to half a population or something. So, because here they have to work, they have to supply, they have to look after their parents, they have to look after their children, they do that. Okay, another consequence, some conclusion of what I found is that there is a job market. Job market is small, basically. I mean, there is lots of competition for jobs. So, which means that finding good workers is much easier than in that countries I discussed. Which means what people here they work much better for much less. And this I observed that in building work, which we are doing now, building our house, and in here as well. In all the shop workers, they work very hard. They work continuously, and another small thing is that not small, that people here are very optimistic about their future because, okay, so far Somaliland was developing from total poverty to something which is manageable, and now they started to get recognized a little bit, started in the press, okay, they got recognized by Israel, which is good news or bad news. Okay, we talk about that later in some other places, but at least they're getting somewhere, and they look forward to the future with optimism. Again, unlike people in UK and all these poor students, it's all doom and gloom mentality in the UK. They think, oh, everything will be bad. I don't know what is bad, what is not bad. I mean, it's all relative, of course. Here, it's optimism and okay, young people, because Somaliland are mostly young, because it's already explained many times. They make many children, and not relatively. It's a young society, and young people are always more optimistic than old people like myself. The interview will follow this. That interview was a real pleasure for me, and I hope you find it interesting too. Thank you, Fossia, or agreeing for several attempts to say some words about you. So first, I introduce myself. I'm former Russian, former British. Now I don't know who I am. In between different countries, for 40 years I was professor of mathematics. This is my first ever interview, except for yesterday. I tried to, or day before yesterday, day before yesterday, I tried to get someone in the port, but it was very, very unsuccessful. So I hope that this one will be better. Um, uh, Yesterday I took the interview of vice boss of all the ports in Somaliland. He is obviously very successful. You are the first woman I can see around who looks successful. I don't know if you consider yourself successful. You will tell us. Maybe because the stereotype of Somali women is that they look after babies, families, children. Uh, so, so I'm going to ask you several questions. Obviously, you answer Somali. Obviously, I won't understand, but I will translate. If I will have several issues with your translation, I will get some small questions later, sometime later. So you don't need to answer my questions if you don't like. You can say something else. It's completely free world because we are not in Europe. We're in Somaliland. Somaliland is seem to be more free than in European world. So I will ask. You say something I won't understand, but I will be happy. I will ask you more. Yeah, you can carry on. Yeah. So if you're okay with this procedure, then I will ask you first series of questions. If you can tell about yourself, how you started this business. Is it your business? How much you enjoyed it? How much you combine with the family? How difficult is that in your life? What is your past in this respect? What is your future? What do you think you will do, and stuff like that. So if you can say something about this, that would be very nice. Thank you. Okay.
In the beginning, the business belonged to my mother. After she stopped running it, my sisters took over. When my sisters left, I took over the business. At that time, I was a young woman and not yet married. I later got married while I was running the business and decided to manage both my household and the business together. Having a business gives you the freedom to decide how to run things, and it is rewarding, but it also comes with many challenges and pressures. Managing the business, investing properly, maintaining healthy cash flow, and filling any gaps are all essential. If you do not stay on top of everything, the business is unlikely to succeed. At first, I was simply happy to be helping out in the shop and was not interested in the business. However, when the choice became either letting the business close or taking responsibility myself, I chose to take it over. Even though I did not enjoy it at the very beginning, I gradually started to enjoy running the business and improving the business until I reached a successful position. Managing both the business and a family with 7 small children was challenging, but by the grace of God, I adapted and didn't give up. Now the children are doing well, the business has grown, and I have started another business and a farm.
Okay, thank you. So second set of questions. You're obviously very successful. This shop is very successful. People advise we don't go to any other shops or food like that. So how do you consider and how do you think why is it so successful? Why you are better than other people? And what helps you? And okay, and question which is related is how do you manage with people? I mean, you have so much stuff. How do you manage people working as a teamwork?
I manage the business and the employees myself. I am usually present, but sometimes employees may not behave exactly as I would like when I am not in the shop. In the city, we serve people of many different nationalities. Some of the employees are very good at customer service, while others are not as strong. That is why it is important for me to remind and teach them how to be respectful and provide good service. Because of this, I usually only take 1 or 2 days off per month.
Thank you very much. One question, single question. You have many poor people around. How do you manage shop? Because first, they try to steal probably. Some people try to steal something. Second, they try to ask for begging for money or something probably. So how does it work with your environment, with your shop? Because how is poverty around? Poverty around in UK, many people, they are not poor, but they steal from shops. Here, people poor, according to what I understand, maybe I understand, no, I understand right. There should be enough people trying to steal from the shop. Do you have problem with that? And the second part, if people ask you begging for money, for food, for what do you do?
While we do not usually have issues with theft, from time to time we see people who are begging or experiencing hardship. When that happens, we give what we can. For us, that is quite normal.
Okay. Now, different questions. I made actually short already video about your shop. I was showing Ukrainian oil, some Russian products, some Serbian products, some Polish products, all from all over the world. So where do you get that? All this wonderful stuff from everywhere. Is there is a central warehouses or something, or you have lots of different people connect? How do you organize logistics? How do you and who is doing that? You personally, or you have many people?
I source my products from different warehouses across the country, and I personally select the items needed for my shop.
Another question: is there is quality control of food? You buy somewhere. How do you know that it's a good food? I mean, is it quality food? What's the quality control? Does it exist here, or you just trust?
When goods arrive in Somaliland, they are searched, checked, and tested for quality at the port.
Okay, what is about organic food? In Europe, everybody say, "Oh, we want organic, organic." Here, everything looks organic. Organic means natural. So is it true? I mean,
Here in this country, most locally grown products are organic.
and for example, eggs. Where do you take eggs?
The eggs sold in my shop come from Hargeisa, where there are many chicken farms. Berbera is too hot for large-scale chicken farming.
Okay, another question. Ramadan, how different is this season from normal season? And is it more difficult, less difficult, more business, less business? And how difficult is that for you and people personally? Because if you don't eat, don't drink during the day, where do you take energy to work?
During Ramadan, people drink a lot of juice, so sales of drinks are very high. Food sales are also naturally higher during Ramadan as well.
Do you like Ramadan? You personally?
Yes, I like Ramadan very much.
Okay, because for me, I don't understand. For me, it's difficult to because difficult to get energy. I need energy.
You are welcome to Berbera, and you are very welcome to visit my shop.
I'm really happy that you managed because I just, for me, it would be extremely difficult to imagine how I would imagine that. I mean, manage that because for me, there's so many difficulties and this is, but I just don't understand. Thank you very much